Well, hello again, and welcome to our reading of Mark's Gospel, and we're up to chapter 6, verse 24. So remember that the daughter of Herodias has danced for Herod, and Herod says, "I will give to you even half of my kingdom." And she, ex Elthusa, this is a feminine aorist participle, this is the daughter of Herodias. So she, having gone out, she said to her mother, "What shall I ask for?" This is from ITO. From ITO, this is a hortatory subjunctive here. So what shall I ask for? And she said, "The head of John, the one who baptizes." She had the head of John, the baptizing one, John the Baptist. And having come in immediately, meta spudo, it's with haste or with all seriousness to the king. She asked, this is from ITRMI, or perhaps from ITO, just the middle. So she asked, saying, "I wish," and we get this funny use of hina again. So, "I wish that immediately you might give to me the head," epipinaki, from pinax is a plate or platter, so on a platter, the head of John the Baptist. And the king, Genomenes, having become perilupos, having become very grief-stricken, so full of grief, he did not wish, on account of his oaths and those reclining with him, so he didn't want the embarrassment of having promised her anything and then backing down before his guests. He did not wish athetasai. This is from athetio. It means in this context something like to break one's word or disappoint her. It's alpha privative, and this the is from the tithemi root, just to set aside. So we have to translate it as something like to break one's word or to disappoint her. And immediately the king, having sent his speculator. Now, a speculator this is a Latin word, going straight into Greek. It is connected with spectare, to look at. So this is a scout, but it comes to mean one of the army commander's staff whose duties included executions. So it becomes the word for executioner. So the king, immediately having sent his executioner, he ordered him enenkai. Now this is a weak aorist infinitive, even though this is a strong aorist verb. So it's from pharaoh, aorist enenkon, the stem is enenk, but we get a weak aorist ending here, as often happens. So he ordered him to fetch the head, to fetch his head. And having gone out, he beheaded him in the prison. And there's that enenkon from Pharaoh again. He carried his head on a pinax, on a platter, and gave it to her. So he gave it, that's the kephale, to the young girl, the Korasion. This is a girl of marriageable age. And the girl gave it to her mother. And the disciples, his disciples, that is of John, having heard, they came, and this is from Iro, they took up toptoma. This word means just the body, so without the head, of course. So they took his body and they placed it in a tomb. Now the next little section is on the so-called feeding of the 5,000. There are two accounts of feeding a crowd in Mark, and these carry across into Matthew as well. Luke and John only record one such occurrence happening each, not two, and there may be, scholars are in two minds as to whether there were in fact two such things happening, or whether the two stories have been conflated or put taken as one thing becoming two and both of them being recorded. Anyway, I'll leave you to read the commentaries on this thing. So the apostles, remember the apostles had been sent out by Jesus 2 by 2 to perform various works and to proclaim the gospel. And so the apostles were gathered. This is from sunago, this is the passive, the historic present again. So the disciples were gathered to Jesus and they reported back, to get that apengelo, to him all things as many as they did and as many things as they taught. And he says to them, historic present, you lot, you yourselves then go, kat idian, privately, eis eremon topon, into a desolate place, kai anapausasti, imperative, middle imperative here from anapao, rest a little, so have a short break. For those coming and those departing were, esan poloi, were many, so there are many people coming and going, kai udi phagain eukairun. Now this is in fact a verb, it's eukairo. It's really you plus a verb, so it's really a compound verb. It's in the imperfect, but they haven't augmented it because they're thinking of this as one word, not as a compound, and they don't want to augment this you at the beginning, although one could. Technically, the augment should go in here, and so there's no augment, but it is an imperfect of the verb, and eukario is to have opportunity. To have opportunity. So they did not have any opportunity to eat because they're so busy with people coming and going. There was no opportunity to eat. And they went off in the boat into the desolate place, Katidion, by themselves, privately. Many saw them departing, kai epignosan, and recognized or realized. So many saw them departing, and epignosan, and they noticed it again. I mean, they saw and they noticed them departing, and on foot from all the cities they were running together. This is from Sun Treco. They were running together there, and they came ahead of them. The grammar's all a bit slightly funny here, but that's what it says. And having come, he saw Polun Oklon, so this must be Jesus. So Jesus, when he saw, so having come, he saw a great crowd, and he was moved to pity. This is from that verb splanknisdomai. He was moved to pity upon them, because they were like sheep not having a shepherd. And he began to teach them, well, pola, either many things or perhaps adverbial muchly, perhaps easiest to say many things here. Kai eide horas poles genomines, and it already, literally, horas polas, many hours having been. So it having already been many hours. So this is again idiom. This use of polus in the sense of being late, so it being a late hour, this occurs in Polybius, but there is a Latin expression ad multum diem, which is very close to this, and this may be yet another example of a Latinism. Anyway, we translated it now being very late, his disciples, having come to him, were saying that the place is desolate, and already, now another expression very similar to the one we had up here, hora pole, it is a late hour. Literally, it is a much hour. So it is a late hour. A polisen, release or loose these people in order that, having gone into the fields and the villages, Kuklo roundabout, we saw that idiom before, let them buy for themselves, so this is a subjunctive here from Agorasdo, let them buy for themselves te phagosin, what they might eat. So what thing they might eat. And we'll stop at that point.